Hey everybody, welcome to Shifty's Club. Today, we're going to talk about a really good deck in format, being limited format Monday. And this deck is Landorus EX and Crobat. Now, what is this deck? Well, it consists of Landorus EX, and its attack for 1 fighting energy does 30 damage and 30 to a bench Pokemon. You usually use Muscle Band, Strong Energy, and Fighting Stadium to do more damage. Then you'll use Crobat and its lower forms of Zubat and Golbat to try and drop damage on your opponent's Pokemon. Now, there are a few problems I have with this particular deck. Most people try to either emphasize Landorus EX all the way, or they try to focus too much on Crobat. I figured that a more balanced approach would be more necessary, as where each card has a potential to do more than just its base assignment. The more options you have in a deck, the better your chances are usually of winning. And this is absolutely no more different in any other deck. If we start with the obvious, we know that most people are going to go ahead with Muscle Band, Strong Energy, and Fighting Stadium, and try to make Landorus EX absolutely just beast as an attacker. And they would throw Crobats as a 4/4/4 line with just enough support to bring them up and reuse them. However, I believe that a Mystery Energy would more than likely be the best resolve for Crobat. Most people say Dimension Valley would be, but I think that Mystery Energy, or even just Psychic Energy, because they really don't have a retreat cost, would be the best effort. But because the Plasma Storm Zubat cost $4 right now on April Fool's Day, well, it's April Fool's for me. You guys are getting, this is a Monday episode, pulled up Wednesday. I just absolutely don't see the way most people can even get one due to the fact that they are literally out of stock everywhere. And the best way to put this is that the free flight Zubat, or the one that gives no trick cost with any energy attached to it, is probably the best bet. But then again, if you can't afford it, Mr. Energy might be your best bet. So who knows? But anyway, I would run energy so Crobat would have a way of actually doing damage, like 30 snipe or 20 snipe, just in case something happens to Landorus. I mean, it's very possible that your opponent can trainer lock you and throw, say for instance, or throw a head ringer, maybe enhanced hammer. And these are usually the most disruptive strategies that disrupt even Landorus EX. And with a 3 retreat cost, he's got to have some way to get out. Well, I hate to say it, but unless you have a Keldeo Floatstone combo, he ain't getting out of that. And that's basically where it comes to when it comes to Landorus EX. But for the most part, you have to have some sort of backup strategy. Once he gets knocked out, you have to have some sort of response. And that's where the energy comes in play. So, if you ask me, I wouldn't run a completely annihilative approach towards Landorus. I'd run more of a combination, but I would slightly favor Landorus EX. Now, there are a couple of cards that I would use in the deck just to make sure that consistency is kept up, and a lot of my matches are not one-sided. The first is Ditto from Boundaries Cross. You heard this in the last episode, but Ditto is probably my favorite rogue tech at all. It's absolutely amazing. Throw down Ditto, and you can basically next turn, if you have to pick up a Crobat, because you already used its ability and now you're ready to put another one down, you can pick it up with Scoop Up Cyclone, or shuffle it in with Cassius, or pick up just a Crobat with Az. It really depends. However, I believe that the best approach would be, if a Scoop Up Cyclone was played, that you have a Ditto on the bench, throw down Zubat on top of that, and instantly you can go into Golbat, or even Rare Candy Crobat, if that's your decision. But even though there's always that one time where you're going to need that extra 10 damage, and that's where my next card comes in, and it's Rare Candy. Obviously, none of these decks run Rare Candy, but I would run one for that particular reason. Sometimes you're going to run 10 damage short, and it's either a laser, which you probably already run, and the Rare Candy to go straight from Zubat to Crobat. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the ultimate strategy, period, but then again, you have to have responses whenever something comes up. Take it this way. So you're going up against a really good stall deck. There are plenty of great stall decks that can absolutely just hold you off with all this damage output. Now, putting damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon isn't really prohibiting damage. But Landorus CX, on the other hand, is prohibiting damage. Even with one energy card, you're doing at max 120 damage altogether. And with stalling techniques, you can easily reduce that damage by a massive amount. With enough disruption, you can completely stop Landorus CX altogether. So there's got to be other ways than Ditto and Rare Candy for your other one matchup. And obviously, Keldeo Floatstone fits that category. Now, we still have one more big problem to deal with, and that is Garbodor. What do we do with Garbodor? Well, for Garbodor, we already have a Rare Candy. Now we're going to use our next best option. Our next best option is a 101 Dusknoir line. Now hear me out. Even with the Rare Candy, you still have things like Jirachi and Skyla to get Rare Candy. And they're very effective too. You're already running things like Ultra Ball, so it's not going to be too much of a pressure to put in 2 extra cards to go in with what is probably the most deadly ability in format to rearrange your opponent's damage counters. Now, I really wouldn't say for sure that this is the best way to run Landorus EX and Crobat in a deck, but then again, they are absolutely dominant if ran correctly. And from what I found out, I can't really give you guys I guess I'll give you guys my deck list. I'm not planning on using it, so I'm going to go ahead and post my copy of the deck list in the description box, and you guys can have it, play test with it. And this list is pretty much been what I was focusing on for the last week on the online, and I was using it to get ready for this episode. Now, obviously, I play both limited and extended. I'll play limited for a day, then extended, and so on and so forth, just to get ready for my videos. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my deck list as of right now. Well, guys, that's all I have for today. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Post a comment in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great time. See you next time at Shifty's Club.